This is the exercise 2 of the Microsoft Cortana Intelligence Suite workshop delivered by Blue Metal. If you're not sure where to get the workshop content, you can use your browser and go to aka.ms/Cortana manual, which will redirect you to this README file in GitHub. And from this page, you can get the rest of the workshop content. Before doing exercise 2, I would like to quickly review the architecture. In exercise 1, we have developed an Azure Machine Learning model and also deploy it as a web service. For exercise 2, we will create a Data Factory service, install a data management gateway. In exercise 3, we set up the pipeline. And in exercise 4, we will connect that with the Azure Machine Learning model. In exercise 5, we will use Spark Notebook to develop a summary table. And then exercise 6, we use Power BI Desktop to develop a simple report to visualize the data. Then exercise 7, we will deploy a web application to actually consume all the assets that's been developed. And exercise 8, we show you how to clean up. So that's kind of the plan of this workshop. To start exercise 2, click this link. It brings up the instructions. There are 5 tasks. Download some sample data set and install the data management gateway. And then we will create a data factory service. Task 1 is to connect to the lab VM, which I have already done that. We are actually in the lab virtual machine. So task 2. Task 2 is to download a sample data set. I click this link. Okay, finished. I can just go to download, and that's the data set. And we want to put it in the C:\data, which we create in exercise 1. So I'm just going to drag and drop there, put it in place. The next is to install data management gateway by clicking this to download the installation file. Click download, and I'm going to pick the 64-bit version. Okay, look like it finished the downloading. So go to the download folder. That's the installation program. Kick out the installation. You will install the data management gateway in an on-premises server. The objective is to establish a data factory pipeline securely connecting your on-premises server and your data factory services in Azure. Next. And I'm sure you want to read and approve the end user licenses agreement. Next. We're going to take the defaults, install that. Okay, finished. It brings up the registration program. We need to provide a key for it to do secure connection with the data factory service in Azure. We're going to leave it here, come back once we have the key generated. Going back to the instruction. So this is what we have just done, is to install the data management gateway. We have not yet registered it. Task 4, we want to go back to Azure portal and create Azure Data Factory service. I have already logged into my Azure subscription, and from the dashboard, I can click the tile and go into the resource group for the workshop environment. And I'm currently on this virtual machine. What we want to do now is to create a data factory service. You can do that by clicking plus, and we can just go to data analytics, and you can scroll down to find out data factory. Right, and you can read the information, and from here we can go ahead and create a data factory service. First, we need to provide a name. I'm just going to call it YC dash CIS dash DF. That's our subscription. And we want to use existing resource group. We want to put everything in the same resource group, which is yc.cis. You want to deploy to the same location with the rest of your resources for the workshop. And we can just go ahead and create that. All right, it just finished the deployment. So if we go back to the resource group, we should see our Data Factory services right there, and go ahead and click that. And we are going to start from author and deploy. I'm going to click that. I'm going to click more. We want to create a new data management gateway. Click that. I'm going to call it YC-CIS Data Management Gateway, DMG. Okay. For this workshop, no high availability. I'm going to OK that. Though now it has generated the key for us. Click to copy the key, and then go back to the on-premises server and paste it into the key, and then register the data management gateway from the on-premises server. So it will use this key to do all the handshake and establish a secure connection with the data factory service that's been created in Microsoft Azure. It finished the registration. So let's go ahead and close it. And now when we go back to our Azure subscription, we should now see the data management gateway successfully registered. I'm going to OK that. Close that. Let's go back to the instruction. So we install the Data Factory services, give a name and other information. A new data gateway, we create a key, copy the key, paste it into the registration program, and then it successfully registered. And that's the end of exercise 2. Now continue to exercise 3. So we have the data management gateway established in an on-premises server, which is able to do a secure connection with our data factory service in Microsoft Azure. The next is to establish the pipeline such that the data factory service can move the data through this pipeline. Task 1, we want to create a copy function for the pipeline. Going back to our data factory service, we're going to click copy data. From here, we are going to provide information, different names. We want to make sure we use the exact name that's provided in the instruction, because some of the settings that we copy and paste in reference those names. So I want to go back to the instruction and do a copy and paste of some particular names. In task 3, this will be the copy function name or copy task name. So we want to do that, and that's this name. So we're going to paste it in. For this workshop, we're just going to have it run once. You can certainly schedule it in the production setting. Next. This is to specify what kind of data store you have as a source. And what we have is a file system. I'm going to highlight that, and next. Then the connection name, which I want to go back to the instruction and use the exact same name. So we specify its file system. And now we want to provide this connection name. Going back, that's this name. Paste it in. The gateway is correct. And the path is in C:\data. Okay, the username, give the credential of the on-premises server. In this case, it's our virtual machine. Next. Okay, so once it established the connection, it will show you what's in that particular folder, right? And what we want is this sample data set. So we're going to choose that. And you can configure the copy operation based upon your requirement. I'm just going to leave it as it is. Next. Okay, now on this screen, you can actually preview the data set, and we can upload it and let the Azure Machine Learning model to score to make the prediction for us. I'm going to do next here. So this will be a destination data store. That will be our Azure blob storage, which is right here. Next. I want to give the name. So going back to the instruction. So Azure blob storage, we have specified that. And we want to use this name. Copy and paste in. Right here. Paste that. And pick the subscription. And you want to make sure the storage account is Spark storage. Next. So for the folder path, that's within the Spark storage. And so that's the container we wanted to put in the file for us. Next. We do want to add a header. We're going to keep the rest the same. Next. We're going to keep the default setting. Next. So this is our configuration. I'm going to do next here. So it's validating all the information that we have provided. All right, it took about 2 minutes to finish the configuration. And we can click here to monitor this particular pipeline. All right, if we do a refresh. And it's still in progress. Give it a moment, it will become ready. We need that to be a ready status. We'll come back later and to make sure that it has a ready status. All right, back to the instruction. So we have installed the data management gateway. We established the pipeline. And that's end of exercise 3. Continue to exercise 4. All right, exercise 4, we're actually going to configure the data factory pipeline with the Azure Machine Learning model that we have developed. And there are a number of steps that we need to go through. Create a link service, specify the input data, where is the score data set going to be put, and the predictive pipeline, right, and how you monitor the activities. Task 1, create a compute service for Azure Machine Learning model. Going back to our data factory service, okay, we're going to click author and deploy. More, new compute, and this is for Azure Machine Learning. And we're going to copy and paste the JSON text content. So going back to the instruction, copy that, and notice that we only need machine learning endpoint and API key. So going back to the configuration, Control A to select all, Control V to paste. At the end of the exercise 1, we deploy the Azure Machine Learning model, and there's a number of URLs and also API key generated, and that's what we need to use. I have kept that in this particular text file, and the batch request is the machine learning endpoint. So I'm going to copy that, and I will highlight that and do a Control V. Okay, you want to make sure there's nothing after jobs. The next is the API key. That is the primary key. And highlight this, do a Control V. That's what's needed. Once we deploy, we should see it listed out as a linked service. So let's do that, deploy it. And we have deployed it. Let's go back to the instruction. So we have done that. The next is to create an input data set. So we're gonna go back, click more, new data set, Azure Blob Storage. Okay, and we're gonna copy and paste the JSON text. Copy that. Here, Control A, Control V. And this is the name I was talking about. So it needs to be consistent. Once we deploy this, we should see that list under dataset. So let's go and deploy that. There it is. Create Azure Machine Learning scored dataset. So more dataset again from Azure Blob Storage, because all the dataset we put it in Azure Blob Storage. And going back to the instruction, that's the JSON text. Copy that. Control A, Control V. And that's the name I was talking about. It needs to be consistent. When we deploy that, it should list under dataset. Deployed. The last one is to create a predictive pipeline. And let me just go ahead and copy this first so we don't have to come back again. So right click, copy. A new pipeline. I'll do a Control A, Control V. Okay, once we deploy it, it should list under the pipeline. Go and deploy. Okay, we have the predictive pipeline. Now we basically give the Data Factory Pipeline the ability to consume the Azure Machine Learning Model web service. Going back to the instruction, and then we can monitor the pipeline activity. To do that, we can go and close this. From the property page of the Data Factory, just click Monitor. Brings up the Data Factory page. And here we see that ready status there, and this is the pipeline we have just created. And as you can highlight different pipeline, you'll see the configuration. And that is exercise 4. Okay, before we go to exercise 5, let's go to the README page and just kind of review what have we done. Okay, here's the architecture. In exercise 1, we create the Azure Machine Learning model and we deploy as a web service. Well, in exercise 2, we download the data management gateway, install in an on-premises server, also create a data factory service in Azure subscription, and generate an encryption key. And we use that key to finish the registration. And then exercise 3, we create a pipeline. And in exercise 4, we create Azure Machine Learning compute service. We create the input data set, the score data set. We create the predictive pipeline, and we also learn how to monitor the pipeline activities.